I'm starting today with a bit of a confession. I don't absolutely love starting seeds indoors. Wet soil can be a bit of a mess. When given the opportunity, I'd much rather start seeds out here in my greenhouse. So today I'm going to take you through 9 crops that I'm starting in my greenhouse during the month of March. I'm starting beets, broccoli, cauliflower, collards, cabbage, parsley, cilantro, leeks, and bunching onion. First, I'm going to take you through how I set up my trays for sowing. Then I'm going to take you through sowing each crop, and I'm going to be sure to point out the variety and some tips so that you can garden along with me. If you haven't tuned into the channel before, my name is Mylan, and this is my gardening channel, ATL Grow. I'm not an expert, but I love to do gardening research and pass along what I'm learning along the way. My goal is to help inspire you to grow your own vegetables at home, even when you have limited room to grow. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how deep to plant each seed, how to prevent your trays from drying out in the sun, and how to avoid damping off. Basically, less guessing and more seedlings that actually make it. Let's review how I set up my trays. I'm filling my trays up with Soil Cube Veggie Mix. It's a compost blend that holds moisture really well in trays and gets our seedlings off to a nice strong start. I start off by adding a little water to the compost so that it doesn't have dry pockets when I water it in later. Then I fill the trays and lightly tamp it down. I don't want it compact like a brick though. Next, I come along with the dibbler. I make an indentation appropriate for each seed's planting depth. We'll go over the exact depth along the way. I also like to be really consistent about using labels. I've made the mistake of not labeling trays in the past, and trust me, you don't want to make that mistake. Your seedlings will come up and you won't be exactly sure which varieties you planted or when you planted them. And I just find it's really helpful to have that for documentation. During the early stages of germination, I like to use these humidity domes. I find that they help lock in moisture during the early days of germination. But growing in a greenhouse like this, you have to be really careful. I only like using the humidity domes at night. If you leave them on during the day, you're going to get a double greenhouse effect, which will burn up your seedlings. Even on a day like today where it was like 55 degrees outside and really sunny, the temp in the soil can be as high as 100, 110 degrees if you leave that cover on. And finally, under the trays, I have this heat mat. We're still getting temps below freezing at night. So by using the heat mat and the soil probe, it keeps the soil at a nice, safe temperature for the seedlings to thrive. One thing I forgot to mention about the humidity domes. It's important that you stop using those once about half of your seedlings have sprouted. If you continue to use them too long, they can lead to too much moisture in the trays, and that can cause a condition called dampening off, where your seedlings rot at the base and die off. Now let's get into the crops that I'm planting this month. The first crop is beets. I'm sowing this mixed variety because I want a multicolored beet salad. I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of beets. Some are turned off by their earthy flavor, which is actually something that I enjoy. But if you're not, a variety pack like this gives you different colors and varieties to try. In the past, I've grown the traditional deep red beets, as well as golden beets and white beets. I find that the golden beets and the white beets are typically a little milder in flavor. So if you don't think you like beets, give those a try and let me know what you think. When sowing beets, I plant them a 1/2 inch deep. And heads up, beet seeds are actually a cluster of seeds. So don't be surprised if you get 2 or 3 that pop up out of one cell. You'll most often see beets directly sown, but I found that they actually do really well when started from trays. Starting them off in trays like this will also give you the opportunity to do what's called multi-sowing. So you'll have multiple seeds per cell. Then you can harvest some of the earlier baby beets and allow the others to grow into full maturity. Beet seeds typically sprout in 7 to 10 days. Once they sprout, I'll keep them in the trays until I start to see the second set of true leaves coming along. Once that happens, I'll start to transplant them throughout my raised bed garden. If you get multiple seeds sprouting per cell and you'd rather have larger beets, then I recommend thinning them out. Just come along at the base and snip out the weaker plants. The one that survives will produce a larger beet by itself. Next up is broccoli. Broccoli is one of the best crops that you can start in March. It handles cool temps pretty well, and it should head and be ready to harvest before the heat moves in. The variety that I'm sowing today is Godzilla broccoli, and the seeds are from Haas Tools. I sow my broccoli seeds about a 1/4 inch deep, and I'm targeting 1 per cell. If multiple seeds sprout, this is one you definitely want to thin back, because crowded broccoli sprouts won't size up like you want. Big issue when growing in the greenhouse is it doesn't like to be stressed out. Temperature swings will cause weird behavior called buttoning, or you'll get a smaller broccoli head. So on warm days, it's critical that I vent early. When growing broccoli, your goal is to have nice, steady growth. That's the key to getting a full head of broccoli. In addition to managing the temp, I also have to make sure that I keep the soil consistently moist. Otherwise, we'll see that residual stress even after we transplant. Broccoli seeds also sprout in about 7 days, and these will be ready to transplant in about 4 weeks. You can generally plant these out a few weeks before your last frost. But if you have a hard frost coming in, it's going to be critical that you cover the young plants. They're much more susceptible to frost damage. The next crop is cauliflower. Think of this one as broccoli's more sensitive cousin. The variety that I'm planting today is Twister Hybrid Cauliflower, and this is also from Haas. The sowing depth for cauliflower is also 1/4 inch. The key thing about cauliflower is it demands consistency. If it dries out or gets overheated or underwater or stalls, it's going to remember. And then later you're going to be stuck wondering, where's my cauliflower? So just like I mentioned with broccoli, keeping moisture consistent is critical. And super hot days in the greenhouse have to be prevented at all costs. If there are going to be days where it's warmer than 60 degrees outside, I'll actually move the cauliflower and broccoli off to another shelf that's shaded. I have to get it out of the greenhouse because I don't have full ventilation in here and they can overheat really easily. These cells are typically big enough to hold the sprouts until they're ready to be planted out in the garden. If there's a need to delay planting these out, these will need to be potted up. Cauliflower has a germination time that's very similar to broccoli. It's about 7 to 10 days as well. Once they germinate, they're ready to transplant at that same time range, 4 to 6 weeks. Remember, if you want cauliflower later, consistency is key when taking care of your seedlings. The next crop is cabbage. I'm sowing early round Dutch cabbage, and the seeds are also from Haas. Cabbage can be a little bit more forgiving than broccoli and cauliflower, but I don't want to push things too far. When there's sunny, warm days, I have to make sure that it doesn't get too much heat early on. The sowing depth for the cabbage seeds is 1/4 inch deep. Germination for these is also going to be typically within 7 days. That's going to be pretty consistent across the brassica family. And while cabbage isn't super sensitive, we still don't want to expose it to too much heat early in its life. Doing so will produce leggy, stretched out seedlings, and we'd much rather have stocky seedlings. Those will produce fuller cabbage heads later. Cabbage is one of the more cold-tolerant transplants. It can handle these weird cold spells that we've been having here in Atlanta this winter. The key here for healthy cabbage seedlings is plenty of sunlight and cool temps. I did pick an early growing variety so that hopefully I can get them harvested before the cabbage moths move in. Once they start to arrive, they can damage your crops quickly, and I just don't like fighting with them along the way. The next crop on today's list is Collards. I'm planting the Georgia Southern variety, and the seeds are from Botanical Interest. Collards have been one of the most reliable crops for me. I found that they can handle really cold temps down to 20 degrees, but they'll also be able to take some of the heat that we get in spring. I do find, though, growing them during the cold makes them taste just a bit better. I'm sowing the collard seeds 1/4 inch deep, 1 per cell. This is another one that you don't want crowded seedlings on. In a greenhouse, the key thing is making sure that you've got plenty of airflow. Big leaves and humidity can invite issues that we just don't want to have. The big thing that I like to make sure that I do is get the dome off early in the morning and water them in so that they can dry and get plenty of air through the day. Collard seeds will sprout in about a week. They should also be ready to transplant in about 4 weeks. Like cabbage, collards can also handle a light frost. But if we get any more of these 20-degree stretches, I will make sure that they're covered. One of the best things about collards is they're pretty forgiving and they produce great flavor as long as you take care of them along the way. The next crop that I'm sowing today is cilantro. I'm sowing the long-standing Santo variety, and the seeds are from Botanical Interest. Growing cilantro has been really tricky for me. I've learned that this is another crop where the seeds are in cluster. In this one, you're going to get 2 seeds per pod. So I start off by splitting the seed pods into 2 and then sowing them about 1/2 inch deep. I find that by planting them a little deeper, they won't dry out as fast in the sun. Germination for these can take a little longer than the other seeds that we've covered today, but you should see germination in about 2 weeks or so. And here's the real secret to growing cilantro. You have to succession. So I'll do 1/2 a tray today, and then I'll do another every 2 to 3 weeks throughout the rest of the season. but we will have to wrap up growing cilantro before summer hits. As much as we enjoy it with salsa, it does not grow well in the heat at all, which is pretty ironic because the main reason that we grow cilantro is to put it in salsa. And tomatoes and peppers are warm weather crops. Go figure. One of the things that I really enjoy about sowing cilantro seeds is when you split the seeds, you get that scent of coriander. And that's because coriander and cilantro are the same plant, just different names. The next crop that I'm sowing is parsley. The variety that I'm planting today is Italian parsley, and these are from Haas. I sow parsley about a 1/4 inch deep. Parsley is one of those crops that's going to test your patience when it comes to germination. So don't dump the tray after 2 weeks thinking nothing's going to happen. It can take up to 21 days to germinate. Parsley seeds cannot be allowed to dry out here in the greenhouse, so I have to keep the soil evenly moist until it sprouts. Once it sprouts, this is another one I have to make sure that the dome isn't on during the day. It really benefits from the cooler temps of spring and the airflow blowing through the greenhouse. Remember I told you, parsley can be slow to sprout. Don't give up. Parsley also doesn't mind cold temps, so this will be transplanted out in about 4 weeks. And the plants will reach full maturity in about 75 days after transplant. The next crop that I'm sowing today is leeks. I'm sowing the King Richard variety, and these are from Botanical Interest. I'm sowing the leek seeds about a 1/4 inch deep, and then I'm lightly covering them with perlite. Leeks are really tiny at first, so I want to make sure that the top doesn't crust over and dry out. And I find that perlite helps with that. Leeks start off looking like small blades of grass, and that's totally normal. This is another crop that can handle being multi-sown. When you transplant them out in bunches, you can heal them up, and that's what gives you that smaller white bulb at the bottom. Leek seeds should sprout in about 7 to 14 days. They are frost tolerant, so I'm hoping to have these ready to transplant in roughly 6 weeks or so. And after transplanting, they reach full maturity in about 75 to 80 days. With leek seeds, gentle watering is key. You don't want to splash around too much and disrupt the seeds. That can lower your rate of germination. The last crop for today is bunching onions. I'm sowing the white Libsyn variety, and these are from Botanical Interest. Onion seeds should be planted about a 1/4 inch deep. I'm sowing anywhere from 3 to 5 per cell. It's fine for these to be bunched up because they grow well in clumps and they'll spread in the garden later. If you find that they start to get super tall before you get them planted out in the garden, these are ones that can actually benefit from getting trimmed. But only do that if you need to keep them manageable. The seeds should germinate in about 2 weeks. They can be transplanted outdoors anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. This is another crop that benefits from succession sowing, give you continuous harvest along the way. Now, before I wrap up, I want to give you just a few quick tips about starting seeds in the greenhouse. Number 1, if it's sunny, your greenhouse can overheat. I've said it a few times, but it's absolutely critical that your greenhouse is vented on those days. Extreme heat can dry out your trays and wipe out all your seedlings in a heartbeat. Number 2, avoid dampening off. This usually comes from it being too wet, too humid, and too little airflow in the greenhouse. Remove the humidity domes in the morning. Lightly water your trays and then let them dry a bit during the day. Number 3, avoid letting your trays dry out. The greenhouse sun will dry out your trays quicker than you think. I like to bottom water the trays once the seedlings have sprouted because that gives consistent moisture. On really warm days, you may even want to check midday and just make sure that the top aren't drying out. And those are 9 cool season crops that I'm sowing in March. If you found this video to be helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. My next video is going to be showing warm season crops that you can also start in March. So stay tuned for that one.